Hello and welcome. My name is Chris Shelton, coming to you with your DIY Home Remedies Guide to Health, Happiness, and Healing Transformations. Chronic hiccups, also referred to as intractable hiccups or intractable sinusitis, is another term used to describe hiccups that are chronic, and believe it or not, these hiccups can last for over a month. So as you can tell from my backdrop, we're in the middle of the holiday seasons right now, and what's going on is stress. That is capital S, capital T, capital R-E-S-S, stress. And guess what it does? Well, it creates all kinds of dysfunctions and discords inside the body, and the thing that we're talking about today is chronic hiccups. Yes, you got it. Chronic hiccups is something that I'm seeing more and more cases of, and it's one thing to have one or two hiccups. You swallow something or eat something wrong, and then all of a sudden you feel that little, like your body's trying to grasp the air or grasp the food or whatever that got stuck. But when you have chronic hiccups, has nothing to do with the food that you're eating, or at least very little with the food that you're eating. What it really has to do with is your emotional stress. And when you suppress it, guess what? Your body wants to try to make you speak it. And so one way that it does that is it creates these chronic hiccups. So the only way they treat it in Western medicine, unfortunately, is to anesthetize you. What does that mean? That means to put you to sleep. Put you to sleep to be able to get your body to relax, so that way the hiccups will stop. But it still doesn't fix the emotional trauma that caused the chronic hiccups to begin with. Now, grant you, one or two hiccups or a few hiccups at first might be a little bit funny or something to chuckle about, but trust me, it is something that's very alarming and very uncomfortable if you have chronic hiccups. So what can we do? Or what is the underlying discord? Well, the underlying discord is a heart-lung dysfunction. And if you think about it, when somebody has a hiccup, it's their body's way of trying to grab something, trying to say something, trying to let something go. So first and foremost, one way to remedy this is by doing the heart cleansing sound. And the heart cleansing sound is ha. Now, grant you, if you're in the middle of chronic hiccups, it might be kind of challenging to do this, but give it a try anyway. So what you're going to do, though, is I'm going to have you press on heart 9 on the pinkies, on your inner base of the pinky nail here. And what's going to happen is that this is where the heart acupuncture meridian ends, and then it connects with the small intestine meridian. So the small intestine and the heart both work together. They're both yin and yang of each other. Anyways, I want you to hold this, and I want you to really be honest with yourself. What are you feeling? What's been going on in your life that you may be not expressing properly? Or if you're seeing somebody close to you suffering with something, maybe it's mental trauma or some kind of illness or disease and it's emotionally affecting you, what are you not saying or what are you not speaking about? So this is what I want you to focus on. And I'm going to inhale, pull the breath deep into the chest, into the heart. Imagine a pink cloud filling up into the chest. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift the chin. And as you make the ha sound, I want you to allow for that circumstance to leave from your throat. That's right. I want you to imagine the circumstance that's got you troubled, that's got you upset, leaving from your throat, because we need to open up this area. And by lifting the chin, it allows for this area to open up as well too. In fact, in Chinese medicine, if you get sad and get a stuck feeling in your throat, it's called the plum seed effect. And so one way to release this plum seed is by lifting the chin. So as I inhale, I'm going to feel the emotion. I'm going to feel whatever that trauma and that stress is. And then as I exhale, imagine the circumstance leaving from the throat, going several feet away from the body, deep into the ground. Now we're going to keep doing this, inhaling. So you can do this for 5, 10, or 15 minutes, but also you can do it underneath your breath. So after you've done several of these, audibly, I want you to then take it inward and do it underneath your breath, and it'll go something like this. All right, so we'll do a couple breaths like that. So again, you can do this as little or as much as you want, but the main thing is that you have to focus on whatever the emotional stress is. And it can be something also like burning the candles at both ends. Maybe you're traveling like crazy and you're just overly exhausted and tired. Your body feels run down and you develop these chronic hiccups. What other healing sound can we do? Well, the healing sound for the lungs is okay? So the lung acupuncture meridian actually starts here or emerges at the chest and flows all the way down through the radial artery, through the palm here, and then ends right here. This is lung 11, so we're going to grab the lung acupuncture point or meridian here on the thumbs, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to lift the chin. Again, I want this energy to leave from the throat. This is where the hiccup is coming from, trying to grab this chi. And it may not be a physical, something actually physically there, but energetically it's there. So we're going to lift the chin, inhale. Again, inhale. And once again, we could also do the sound underneath your breath. So as you inhale, you're going to imagine a white or silver cloud filling up into the lungs, because that's the color that's connected to the lungs. And then as you exhale, making the sound. Okay, so the third sound that I want you to do is called the triple burner sound, or the triple warmer sound. Now, what is the triple burner and what is the triple warmer? Well, the triple warmer, also referred to as sanjiao in Chinese medicine, is not an actual physical organ, but think of it like this. It's a network that comprises in the visceral cavity to get these organs to all communicate properly together and to work together. Because just like a team needs to work together in a business or in a family, same thing happens also inside your body. These organs do not work independently from each other. They all are connected one way or another, and when there's a discord in one, it can actually create a discord in another. So I kind of think of it like the Matrix, or like Tron. Like you need the old school Tron movie, that is. You have to have this energy network that helps these organs to communicate. And one area of the body made, like this area here, they call the upper burner. And this is what they consider the mist of the body. This is where your chi is made for the body and your blood is made. The middle burner here is the assimilation chamber. This is where the food and the drink that we put into our bodies is assimilated to be made into blood. And then the lower burner is the drainage ditch, where we actually release our fecal matter and our urine, so releasing the waste. But that lower burner also is kind of like a catalytic converter on a car. The pure fluid and food essence is then separated, further separated in the bladder and in the intestines, and sent up to the chest again. So the body tries to utilize everything possible to make sure that you're running the most efficiently as possible. So when we have emotional trauma affecting this triple burner, then what will happen is that it'll create discords in other parts of the body, which also can be a contributing factor to these chronic hiccups. So what is a triple burner sound? Triple burner sound is kind of like you're undoing the zipper. What I want you to do is I want you to bring your hands up. So our upper burner, so our Lao Gung points, pericardium 8 is where the Lao Gung points are, in the palm of the hands, both hands. And what's going to happen is you're going to face it towards the upper burner here. Inhale, notice that my pitch is going to be higher. As my hands drop into the lower burner, then my tone is, or my pitch is going to go deeper, right? Because I'm going down into this lower energy reservoir here. Okay, so I'm going to inhale. Once again, try to focus on something that you think may be going on. If there's nothing that's coming to you, like you're saying, Chris, I just have these chronic hiccups and my life is going groovy, there doesn't seem to be anything going on. Well, then try to find something, or at least do the sound. And as you do the sound, I want you to focus the hands connecting, or these Lao Gung points connecting with the different organs of the upper chest, the middle abdomen, and the lower abdomen. So the sound practice goes like this. Inhale. Again, inhale. Let's do another one. Inhale. Okay, Okay, so once again, you could also do the sound underneath your breath. Now, you don't have to use the hands as a guide. You can also do the sound underneath your breath. If I was to do the sound underneath my breath, it'd be something like this, inhaling. Going to do one more, inhale. Okay, and then we could always finish off by pulling down the heavens 3 times, inhaling and then exhaling. Just feel this white light coming in. Now imagine as the white light comes in, it especially comes through and clears out the throat, clears out the chest, all right, pushing that energy down. Inhaling and exhaling. Okay, so that triple burner also relates to the fire element. So the heart and small intestine relate to the fire element. Normally we talk about 5 elements in Chinese medicine. Well, if you hear them talk about 6 elements, it's because the 6th element is another fire element, which is that triple burner and the pericardium. So what else can we do to better empower ourselves and help us release this emotional trauma that's contributing to these chronic hiccups? Well, we could obviously do the heart move. So as I inhale in the center, I'm going to exhale and I'm going to press. The hand that's on the bottom of the ball, or on the bottom of the push here, goes to the bottom of the ball. Then as I exhale, I'm going to press. Inhale and exhale. Again, focusing on the emotional trauma. And then as you exhale, imagine that trauma leaving out the hands, in particular out the pinky, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. Okay? So you can do as many of these as you want, or if you want to do the cradling the baby method, might be a little bit easier for some folks. We're going to go ahead and inhale and exhale as we press. Inhale and exhale as we press. I'm going to inhale, exhale as I press, allowing for the trauma to leave like a dark cloud. And then once again, you pull down the heavens 1 to 3 times. I'm going to inhale and exhale. Okay, the other practice we can do is obviously the lung cleansing sound. So whatever the grief, sadness, sorrow, or shame, and guilt all reside in the lungs. So if you're feeling some of that, maybe that's contributing to the chronic hiccups. I'm going to imagine a white or silver cloud filling up into the lungs as I inhale. Then as I exhale, allow for that to leave like a dark cloud going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. When we let go of the shame and the guilt and the disappointment, the sorrow, then what happens is the positive virtue of courage comes in and takes its place. Inhale and exhale. In and exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale. Now obviously you can do as many of these as you want. And I'm going to pull the energy into the chest, pressing down and pulling down the heavens 1 time. Okay, one last thing that I recommend doing is talking to somebody or telling somebody or speaking your truth. That's the next thing. So if there's something that you need to say to get off your chest, this is something. Now obviously going through the chronic hiccups, it may or may not be able to come across easily, but I would give it a shot. Or another thing that you could actually do is write a person a letter or write a situation a letter, even if it's intangible, even if it's thought processes just stirring around inside your head. Write all that stuff out. You know, there's something amazing when the energy transfers from the pencil or pen to the pad of paper that could also help to release this as well. So my good friend, Hollywood physique expert, Eric the trainer, had this actually come up with him earlier this past year. Now let's take a look at what he had to say. Okay, so I'm here with my friend, Eric the trainer, Hollywood physique expert. And Eric, you know, last year sometime you had called me because you had chronic hiccups. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I did. I mean, I know this sounds crazy. I think about hiccups as much as I think about Easter, and I'm Jewish. I never think about hiccups. Hiccups, they're not in my vocabulary. But one day, out of the blue, I got hiccups in the morning here at work, and it just didn't go away. It was the weirdest thing. I kept on going and going, and I was training clients at the time, and it was kind of awkward to give clients instructions. Like, up next, we're going to go do some bench press. You know, it was like a stutter and a cough and a choke all in one. Anyway, the terrible thing was it lasted all day into the early evening, and I was feeling terrible. I was actually feeling sick, like it was making me physically ill. And so my wife, Alicia, said, you've got to call Chris Shelton. He's going to be able to help you. He'll come up with a solution. So we called Chris. He was in San Jose at the time, not down here in Los Angeles. And believe it or not, this is a true story. Just hearing Chris's voice made the hiccups suddenly go away. But it was a terrible experience. I have not had chronic hiccups since, and I would not recommend it to anyone. It's a horrible experience.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to you earlier that hiccups is now, chronic hiccups is something that we're starting to see more cases of actually because of what's going on, because of the stress that's going on in our environment. But you didn't go to the hospital or call the doctor. You just called me.
Right, I didn't go to the hospital or call the doctor, partially because I think they would laugh me out of town and you'd never see me in Los Angeles again. Partially because it was so weird. You know, it's kind of like I sort of put hiccuping in the same category as sneezing. Imagine if you just sneezed uncontrollably. It's just a bizarre health issue to have. And so I called Chris. Chris is the one guy that I trust for all my health issues, especially the ones that I can't figure out. And he never lets me down. He's the best.
So what did you do, Chris, in order to help Eric at that situation?
Well, like I said, the number one root cause of chronic hiccups is stress that's going on in our life, and we just suppress it. Because if you think of it, your voice is trying to speak up, right? And if somebody is not is suppressing something that's going on in their life at the time, then if you think of the hiccup, it's trying to grab something, right? So unless you swallowed something, let's say you're chewing your food, right, and normally you hiccup and it grabs the food and pulls it down or whatnot. But if it's something that's chronic like that, then there's something that's going on. And so what I did was, I just talked to him about, what was going on with you and stuff like that, and to acknowledge that, just to acknowledge it. And I think it wasn't my soft, sexy voice. I think it was really me just saying, just acknowledge that, which was something that then allowed it to cure it for you, as opposed to me actually fixing it.
Right. I mean, Chris just started talking to me on the phone, and this is like a long distance call, and he was convinced there was something that was bothering me, and I think he mentioned something about my son, who I was worried about at the time. And as I spoke to him about my son, it turns out I think the hiccups were completely psychologically based, because they suddenly just stopped. And I felt a lot better, and it's because of this guy. So,
yeah, the alternative is that they actually, if you go to the hospital, they actually knock you out. They put you under anesthesia to get you to stop,
Wow.
because there's no cure in Western medicine for this condition. Because even though we're starting to see more and more of it as a result of what's going on in our society, the only way that they could try to combat it is really kind of putting you to sleep almost like a dog,
Really?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So the Qigong practices, and really I think just addressing and acknowledging the stress that's in your life, is something that can actually help you cure it yourself. So, yeah.
Either that or a frog suit, and that way for Halloween you'll be all ready.
Ribbit!
Ribbit! No, thanks to Chris, I feel much better.
Woohoo! There you go, chronic hiccups. I know it sounds crazy, but it is something that's on the rise right now because of all the stress that's going on in our environment, considering everything that's going on. So I gave you some simple remedies that you could do to help to remedy it, because the alternative is you go to the hospital, they have to knock you out in order for your body to relax, for the chronic hiccups to stop. So this is something that your body is telling you, listen to me, this emotional stress is too much. So Qigong is a simple practice with profound results. Please share and like this. Please click on the link below, because Infinichi has some products like the fire element herb combination and also the metal element herb combination that could subtly help to work through this emotional imbalances of the heart and the lungs. Signing off from a beautiful day here in sunny San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley, with your DIY home remedies guide to health, happiness, and healing transformations. And until next time, we will chi you later.
This is no joke. This is Manchichi saying you are feeling better. Better, your hiccups are all gone. Feel the chi be like the Manchichi.